Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Take the North podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it all of the time as we try to bring you the best possible Bears content. I am Mark Grody. Dan Wiederer is off. So the executive producer of the Take the North podcast, Adam Studzinski, is here to talk about the Bears. And this just happens to be a mailbag episode. So Studs has been furiously sifting through the best possible questions that he will bring us shortly. Studs, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Long time no see. If for the listeners to 670 The Score, we just got done doing the midday show together. So we spent a lot of time together. More than
this
usual.
is awkward for us now. Yeah, because we just did 4 hours, and then I go to my place, he goes to his place, and now we're doing a podcast together on a Friday. We're really just trying to get away from each other. You know, there's a certain point where you hit your coworker limit. You know what I mean? It's like,
hey, I'm sick of you.
Love you guys, but now it's time for the core and for family. That's what it's all about. But Studs, it's always a pleasure to have you part of the Take the North podcast.
Bears.
Bears, yeah. And we're gonna get to some of the questions. I took a peek. I got kind of a sneak peek a few seconds ago at some of the questions in the mailbag, and they look good. They will keep us on our toes, and we will try to answer those as best we can. This is not Bears news. This is just something that I think is interesting. Jaquan Brisker, as we all know, missed a bunch of games at the end of last season with a concussion. He has had multiple concussions. From whatever intel that I've been able to gather so far in this offseason is that things are, and I'm talking about on the record things seem good with Jaquan Brisker. Like, he should be okay, should be good to go in OTAs and presumably at the very latest by training camp, despite having had that concussion last year. And I asked that question, as you know, Adam Studzinski, because you dug up the tape and played it on the show earlier today. I mean, I asked Kyler Gordon, how is Jaquan Brisker doing? He said he's doing fine. Like, it didn't even expand. You know, it just made me think, okay, all right. I mean, they're almost looking at me like, why wouldn't he be fine? But we all know. So this is from Jaquan Brisker. It is on Instagram, and a shout out to Kevin Fishbane, who brought my attention to it, or the world's on Twitter. But this is from Quani B. That's his handle on Instagram. Jaquan Brisker says the following: I promise to come back better than ever. Your unwavering support means everything to me in these challenging times. From the heart, I appreciate each and every one of my fans, your prayers, and your messages. We didn't finish strong, and I say it's all my fault. I wish I could have fought alongside my team to win. That's my true passion and purpose. I will rise from this and come back and take what is mine. Year 4 will be special. It will be a testament to our strength and resilience. Until I return, remember, there are no comparisons. That is Jaquan Brisker on Instagram. Studs, what'd you think?
I when I first saw it, I was like, well, this is kind of weird. And because you see something like that and it probably means nothing. It's probably him just filtering some thoughts out. And the generation younger than the generation behind me, they use social media a little bit differently than like our generation, or so they tend to filter their thoughts through social media a little bit more than we do. So I don't know. It seems like he's probably just thinking out loud. The one line that makes you pause is the "when I come back" part, like the very end there, and that makes you think, like, was there some kind of setback, or is he just misusing his tenses, I guess, like speaking in future, present. So right. I presume he's going to be fine until Ben Johnson or Ryan Poles says he's not going to be ready for the season. Right. But it's you see something like this and you're just like, what's all this about?
Yeah, it's like a dash of news, a dash of passive aggressive, a dash of ambiguous. It's just this great little paragraph. I mean, I did like the part too, like where he is saying, I promise to come back better than ever. I like the idea that I'm
Oh
hearing
yeah.
that Jaquan Brisker might be coming back to the Bears, because when he plays, he's somebody who put it well. It might have been Rami Makloff when we were doing the show. I was trying to figure out Jaquan Brisker and what he does to offensive coordinators, and I think the way he put it was, and it was perfect, that you have to account for him. You're not
Yeah.
necessarily game planning for Jaquan Brisker. I guess maybe the two are the same, but you have to account for Jaquan Brisker because, quite frankly, not necessarily intentional, he will hurt you with the physical way that he plays if you are not accounting for that man.
Yeah, it's one of those guys where I think that's a good way to put it. You need to know where he is pre-snap. The quarterbacks can come up to the line, the offensive line, everyone's gonna say, okay, where's number 9? Like you gotta know where he's at, because especially in the run game, his best, I think he's at his best when he's filling gaps on the run game and moving downhill. His pass coverage has gotten better in the last few years. He was kind of raw when he first came in that area, but he's a guy that you have to account for. I mean, when he's on the field, he's awesome. When he's on the field, he's awesome. And the problem is the concussion thing has been an issue, and so you hope that he can just stay healthy for a full. But I don't, and this is a conversation for a different time. Even if he is healthy for this whole next year, I don't know if they're going to be relying on him going forward.
Yeah, and right. And number one, we want what's best for him as a human being. So when we hear about concussions, we are all more enlightened on the issues now more than ever. And obviously the players are even more than us. So that's the first part. And if he's good to go and he's healthy and the risk is low and all of that, then good, because the Bears are better when Jaquan Brisker is playing on their team. So
100%.
Just a little bit of that from Brisker, but again, all signs point towards him playing, no matter how cryptic or having to figure out the translations of some of these tweets and things on Instagram as we tried to learn the language. All right, man, let's get to some of these questions. Let's get to the Take the North mailbag. Do we have like mailbag music or anything like that? I forget.
You know what? There's a little something.
Okay, you got something for us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here goes.
The mail is here. Woo!
That's all we got.
Simpsons ready to go in any room that you're in all of your life.
Yeah, there's actually, you know what? In the room I'm in right now, I don't think I have anything. Oh no, I do have a Simpsons thing. All right, never mind.
Okay. All right, give me some questions. Let's go.
So just for everyone listening, any future questions you want to throw at us, we do have a Gmail that is always there for you to throw questions in. That is takethenorthpod@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Twitter at takethenorthpod. And I know that Dan is on Blue Sky, so if you follow Dan Wiederer on Blue Sky, I know you can message him there. The podcast does not have a Blue Sky as of yet. That's on my list. And Grody, you don't have a Blue Sky, do you?
I do not yet. No. Okay. I'm still getting over my Twitter misplacement. So or my ex misplacement.
You gotta work your way through the 5 steps of grief before you get to that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
So we'll start with some of the questions we got on Twitter for this particular mailbag. This one comes from Jason Black on Twitter. And he asks us, is there a player the Bears can pick at the 10th pick that you can see starting week 1? I know Genty is an easy choice, but I don't see another player. Even if Mason Graham would fall, I don't think he can start. No O-line, ? Sounds like Braxton should be ready by training camp. So
it's a pretty good point by him when you look at some of the areas of need still, or where the Bears may attack. Let's just talk about the offensive and defensive lines here in a second. But to his point, first of all, he's right. Like Ashton Genty is easily one that you could say plug and play in terms of a running back. You can certainly do that. As a matter of fact, you would expect that. You would almost assume that if you were to take Ashton Genty. But yeah, it's true. It does get Mason Graham, if he is to fall to 10, I can't guarantee you that he's going to make an immediate impact like starter or how heavy duty he is right into a rotation. I mean, we know how difficult that position is to develop. We've seen 2 years now of kind of slow progress from Jaquan Dexter, who could have also have been, he was a second round pick stud. So, I mean, there is a certain expectation out of him, but yeah, an offensive lineman there probably like if you get like you probably could plug and play an offensive lineman if you were to get him at 10. I mean, think about Darnell Wright. I mean, that he was plug and play, right? I don't remember him, right? He started right from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, they didn't have a right tackle when they signed him.
They're like, for nothing else, we absolutely need you because we have nobody else. So I do think it's more plausible when we talk about Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle out of Texas, that could be one. Studs, what are you thinking?
So the Mason Graham, I do agree. Yeah, if Ashton Jeanty is drafted by him, week 1 he's probably on the top of your depth chart, but also probably in a timeshare with DeAndre Swift anyway. Assuming DeAndre Swift is still on the roster, I'm assuming he will be. At this point.
Probably will be just because he's under contract, and Ben Johnson, if he can get a better option, especially DeAndre Swift, would look really nice on the Bears roster.
Right, and I do agree with the Mason Graham. If you're looking at like the official depth chart, week 1, Grady Jarrett and Big Bill, Andrew Billings are probably the top of your depth chart on the inside. Even though you would expect that guys like Mason Graham and Jaquan Dexter are going to get a ton of playing time, the official depth chart is going to read Grady Jarrett and Andrew Billings. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's such an interesting question. If the Bears were to land Will Campbell at tackle, then it's a matter of, does he beat out Braxton Jones for the left tackle job? So that's a guy that could start week 1. Right. You don't know if he's going to beat out Braxton Jones. I don't know if the only guy that would be guaranteed, I think, to start would be a guy like Ashton Jeanty.
That's true.
So, or I guess if you want to get like technical about it, if they were to take Tyler Warren, the tight end, they might have a starting offensive lineup that just has 2 tight ends, and it's Cole Kmet and because last year they started quote 3 receivers, Odunze, Allen, and Moore. So they could put out a starting lineup that's 2 tight ends and 2 receivers. So
and there's also evidence. Sorry to cut you off, man. There's also evidence to show that tight ends can thrive early. We just saw it last year with Brock Bowers. So, and Tyler Warren really, really can do a lot. I don't want to because we always have to blow somebody out of proportion, but I mean, you can the guy can run the ball. He could throw the ball. He can line up all over the place. He is, it seems like what remember Trey Burton came to the Bears with Matt Nagy in 2018, and he was supposed to be that tight end who did everything, lined up everywhere. I'm getting the vibe that not those vibes, not him, not Trey Burton specifically, but the guy who could actually do all of those things. So I like that you mentioned Tyler Warren. That's a guy that probably could plug and play on day 1 if he's there for the Bears at 10 and they're interested.
Oh yeah, totally. And I guess just one last aside on that. Trey Burton had a pretty good 2018 season. That was the end of that though. Didn't he just he just
wasn't there at the end, unfortunately.
He wasn't there for the playoff game, which apparently they had a whole game plan designed around him, and then just couldn't do anything about it. So
fair. That's fair. Shout out to Trey Burton. Yeah, there's no reason to, and I know that he might have had some issues too, like in terms of dealing with the stress of all of that kind of stuff. So I'm all good with Trey Burton, but he was the guy. I mean, Matt Nagy was the Trey Burton hype man.
Oh, definitely. And again, because he had a pretty good year, and then they designed a whole game plan around him for that playoff game, and then it turned out he couldn't play, and they had no way of adjusting to it. But anyway, I digress. So our next question also comes from Twitter, and it's at Take the North Pod on our Twitter account. So this is a fun one. For those of you who watch the Dan Patrick Show, you'll know the name Paul Pabst.
Oh, yeah.
Paul apparently is a fan of the podcast, and he gave us a question. So shout out to Paul, who also did a show on Saturday mornings during football season on 670 The Score. Great guy. He's really fun.
Tailgate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul
Yeah.
Pabst. I love
So
Paul Pabst. Every time I talk to Paul Pabst, it just feels like I'm talking to a brother.
yeah. Yeah.
You're like my baby brother. He's my I don't know. I think we're probably close to the same age. I don't know if he's my baby brother too, or younger brother, or older brother. I have no idea.
Brethren. Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Brethren.
with you.
Yes.
He's great. So anyway, Paul asks, which NFC North team has made the worst personnel decision so far this offseason?
Oh, wow. Well, guess what, Paul Pabst? It's not the Bears. That's what I want to say first. First of all, I just want to stress that. I want to stress that any chance I get in answering that question, it's not the Bears. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about. I'll tell you what. I am thinking about the Minnesota Vikings. And will they, you ready for this? Will they rue the day that they allowed Sam Darnold to go to Seattle? Geno Smith going to Las Vegas, by the way, if you just to refresh you on the quarterback train. But with JJ McCarthy is the guy, they have continued to flirt with Aaron Rodgers as well. So that kind of like I don't know if that's a fair way to answer the question. And that's kind of letting somebody go, but that is a personnel decision. So I start right there. I don't know. I didn't really see like I nothing pops to mind of necessarily like that was bad by Green Bay or Detroit. I know Green Bay ended up getting McCole Hardman after the Bears had flirted with him, which is a nice addition. They signed Aaron Banks, a guard, to a 4-year, $77 million deal. And I know Detroit brought back Marcus Davenport. So I don't know, man. Unless I didn't go deep enough, I didn't see anything necessarily too egregious.
The only thing that I think, I'm with you. I don't think any NFC North team has made an egregious decision. But if we're talking about a bad decision, and this might be nitpicking.
Help Paul Pabst out, will you?
So, all right, here you go, Paul. I'll throw this one at you. The Vikings signed, and I always forget if this guy's last name is Fries or Freeze, Fries, the guard, who was one of the top free agent guard.
Will Fries.
Fries, yeah. So they gave him an $88 million contract over 5 years, which I'm not against paying a guard that money if that kind of money. I don't know if this guy is so good that you needed to give him that much money. And so I just think that was an egregious overpay. Not that he's not going to be a fine guard for them, but he's not one of these guys that you're going to look at and be like, oh, this guy is like a top 4 guard in the league. So that I just thought that was an overpay. Yeah. And that's part of the reason why the Bears went out and traded for the 2 guards that they did in Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney, because even though Joe Thuney is pretty expensive, they didn't have to give them crazy expensive contract,
right?
Like the Vikings did. So I think that one's only bad in my mind because of how much they paid. But other than that, like I don't hate him as a player. I hate the contract though. Right. If that makes sense.
No, I get it. And I see where you're coming from, but as far as offensive line, I mean, it's such a tricky position, and it's sort of like theories of what's really the most important part of an offensive line. Guards, is it those tackles? I mean, I think it still is the tackles, but everybody has their own theories, and theories evolve on the offensive line, really just like anything. Okay, what do we got next? Studs here. Mailbag issue here.
Mailbag, the mailbag. So
that's right.
So okay, we'll keep things rolling here on our Twitter account. This one is from @Bears_Dubs, spelled with a Z.
What up, Dubs?
The Dubs. They asked, I don't know if this is he or she, I don't want to presume. They asked, hey, it's 2025,
No, look at you being all courteous to the Take the North listeners.
They ask, who gets an extension first, Joe Thuney or Kyler Gordon? And follow up to our conversation earlier, is Brisker going to be back next year?
Ooh, this is a good question. I mean, a perfect follow-up being that we were just talking about overpaying guards. So this is an interesting situation. Yeah, the Bears, do they want Joe Thuney long-term, 32 years old? It does appear that, there is gas left in the tank, and what would be worthwhile? Like if you get 3 years out of Joe Thuney at that position, like 3 good years,
Mhm.
that's probably what the goal would be, right? At 32. So that
Yeah.
would put him at 35 and maybe even realistic considering where he is in terms of mileage and age and quite frankly, just how good he is when you add the worth it part. But I guess the question was like, who's going to get it done for? Is it going to be Joe Thuney first? Is it going to be Kyler Gordon first? Man, I think probably Kyler Gordon.
Mhm.
I think that's going to be obviously it's probably not going to be as expensive as Joe Thuney, or maybe. I mean, talking about cornerbacks in the league, but I think that they will get something done. I mean, I talked to Kyler Gordon with other reporters recently at a Bears event, the Ed Block Courage Awards, and
Mhm.
he had a very casual attitude about it. He made it clear again Kyler Gordon very much still wants to be here. I'd be shocked if the Bears didn't want him to be here, considering how good he is at that unique position, at that nickel defensive spot, and the fact that Kyler Gordon is just a player that continues to ascend and wants to be here.
I I do agree that I think both of them are gonna get extensions. I'm with you. I think Kyler Gordon gets the extension first just because of his youth and the way that he's everyone around the staff, Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles has spoke glowingly about Kyler Gordon. Even get like Dennis Allen in his opening press conference with the Bears. I think Kyler Gordon's the only defender he mentioned by name, if I remember correctly. Or maybe it was
Yeah.
Ben Johnson who's the only one he mentioned by name. But anyway, like he's a guy that has jumped off the page for opposing guys coming into the organization, and I think that he's a top priority. So I think he gets it done first. Joe Thuney, I believe he'll be the next order down. I'm presuming they want to keep him around. Maybe though they get into the season a little bit. Like let me put it this way. I expect Kyler Gordon to be done by the end of training camp. And I would think Joe Thuney gets an extension sometime during the season. Like maybe they want to get into the season, make sure he's healthy, make sure he's still got it. And okay, like we'll give you a couple more years with all the guarantee money being in and an easy out for the team in year 2 if his play falls off or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the way that things go down.
Yeah.
And so because I think you don't give up. I mean, they only gave up a future 4th, but they gave up draft capital to bring Thuney in here. And so I would expect that they did that with the idea being we're going to keep him here for a few years while we develop talent further down on the depth chart, whether it's through the draft or someone they sign.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one thing you should not count out in the Kyler Gordon equation is that Kyler Gordon was Ryan Poles'
Oh,
first draft
yeah.
pick, and it's a success story. Like we can,
totally.
right? I mean that is whatever you say, what you want to say about the Bears in the last few years, but that is a developmental success story. I mean, he was no slouch. I mean, he was a second round pick. So
Right.
there's a certain expectation, obviously, but they drafted him, they developed him, and he gets mentioned by national announcers like Joe Buck about potentially being one of the best nickel cornerbacks in the league. So
He's a really good player, and especially you get him in the second round. So that's a guy that they identified as a someone they can bring in and develop that has all the tools you need to be a great nickelback. And it's fun because they put so much on him his rookie year. I don't know if you remember, he was their number 1 outside corner and their number 1 nickelback. So he was
yeah,
playing both
yeah,
positions, which is a lot to learn in a
yeah.
modern NFL defense as a rookie. And so now he's just the nickel. So that's obviously why he's settled in a little bit more. So yeah, and then as for Brisker, I
Oh yeah, Brisker.
don't think, we got to address that part of the question.
Yeah.
I think we kind of hinted at this. I don't think he's going to be back in 2026, unfortunately. As fun as he is to watch, and he's a nice kid who, if he stays healthy, is going to have a really good NFL career. I just think the priority is going to be Kyler because he's shown he's healthy and he's shown that he's a really high level player. And they have other needs on the roster. And quite frankly, a box safety is just a lot easier to find than a really good nickel or a really good guard or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I agree with you, and I say that because it would have been like it. Look, Jaquan Brisker likes being a Bear. You hear him talk.
Oh,
we
yeah.
read the Instagram post. He loves it here. He loves trash talking the Packers. I mean, he's kind of one of us. Jaquan Brisker is like he digs it. He fits in with the mentality of the city, the mentality of the organization, all of that. But yeah, in the realistic, unfortunate, cutthroat league world of the NFL, a guy like that who is, when we're talking about concussions and injuries and availability, it's pretty hard to say, yeah, we're gonna roll out the bank here in the second contract. But we'll see. We don't know what the expectations would be out of Jaquan Brisker. So yeah, I'm pessimistic that they're gonna be looking to prioritize that at this point. I am a little more optimistic. You say you don't think he's gonna play at all?
No, I think he'll play past 20, but I just don't think it'll be as a Bear.
Okay, sorry. I heard that a certain way, so I'm glad I clarified that. I probably was the only one who actually heard it that way. That's okay. What else? Did we do that one justice? Did we get all the bullet points in that question? It was like a little two-parter there.
I think so. Thanks a lot at Bears_Dubs. And we'll go with one more here. This one comes from James Gregory on at Take the North Pod here on Twitter. This is a fun one. I specifically saved this one for last because we might go into a bit of a rabbit hole because I think there's a lot of different answers you could give to this question.
Okay.
James asks, worst Bears draft pick of all time, and in parentheses, I'll suggest Bob Sapp. So
oh, you think that's fun? talking about bad Bears draft picks? You think that's fun, huh?
I think it's cathartic. I think it's cathartic to look back on some of the. It's even funner when you look at the guys that they passed on. So.
Oh wow! I can't do that in my head. I can give you some busts,
no, that's a Wikipedia black hole that you go down.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I was gonna say, man, if you could do that off because I know there's always somebody's always finding those guys. They could have had this guy. The Bears could have had Aaron Donald. It's like it's like it's just such a zap. I'm thinking right off the top of my head, I'm thinking about Kevin White. White, who was a number 7 or 8 overall pick in 2015, a Ryan Pace special, the wide receiver, and oh boy, did that ever not work. I'm not even I'm pretty sure Kevin White is gone now, right? Like he's not in the NFL anymore, is he?
He hung around with the Saints for a little bit.
He did.
Yeah, let me look.
He did.
I'll look him up right now. Will you?
Okay. All right. I'm thinking about, and this is my old brain now kicking in. Not my old brain, but the part of the brain that remembers old stuff. Curtis Enis. Yeah, man. He was so disappointing because running backs were a big deal then, and Curtis Enis was just a straight up bust. Rashaan Salam. I think Salam had a 1,000-yard season, but ultimately not good. Cedric Benson, I probably got to put him down as a bust too, relative to where he was drafted. He was number 2, 3 overall.
I think he was 4th overall. Actually, fun fact: Brad Biggs brought this up a week or two ago when he was doing one of his regular hits on the score. That was the last time the Bears took a running back in the first round of the draft. Was Cedric Benson at number 4 overall.
And what year was it? That was 04, 05, right before the Super Bowl, right? Wait, was he a rookie during the Super Bowl season? He was, wasn't he? Yeah, because Thomas Jones, remember, he interrupted Thomas Jones's locker room that year. There was a whole big fuss. I was not covering the Bears, but basically the players loved Thomas Jones, and Cedric Benson was an interloper. So, that's what it was.
Yeah, they Olin Kreutz will tell you that they made a miscalculation after that year by letting Thomas Jones walk, even though Cedric Benson had a really good rookie year as a compliment to Thomas Jones. And the plan was to let Thomas Jones walk. Cedric Benson can't be the guy, and Cedric Benson, I think he got hurt, and it just didn't work out. And
he got hurt in the Super Bowl too, I think.
Yeah, he did
against the Colts.
Yeah. That's I think you do have to count that one as a bust because he really only had.
He's a bust with caveat, and you just did a good job with that caveat right there.
Yeah. So did you have any? Like, you can keep going if you want. We can go all day, probably. It's tough to pick one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what we're doing. That's
Yeah,
right.
you don't have to pick
who's
one.
yours? Who's yours? Give me if you had to pick one. If you had to pick one,
I think
it's tough because they all really share equal value. A
Yeah.
bust is a bust, right? How about Chris Williams?
I was
the
just gonna
offensive
say
lineman.
Chris Williams might
That's
be
a
the
tackle,
one.
man. That's a tackle, right? I thought that I was just like Gabe Karimi. There's
Gabe
another
Karimi is
one.
one. Yeah, like those are Jaron Gilbert. You might go.
Gilbert though was not a first round pick.
Well, it didn't say first round pick. It just said worst draft pick.
Oh, okay, but yeah,
it's tough not to go straight to first round picks though, because
no, you're right. Okay, if we're doing that, the tight end that Ryan
Adam
Pace,
Shaheen.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Adam
that
Shaheen.
one was pretty
bad. That's a bust.
Yeah,
yes. Okay.
That one. Especially he was taken in what, the third or the second round. He's a Division III tight end drafted in the top 3 rounds of the draft.
Yeah,
a draft in which George Kittle went in the 5th round.
Yeah,
so,
there it is. The passed up guy.
That one's pretty bad. I think I would give the nod to Chris Williams just because I think he played I don't know if he ever started a game for the Bears. Kevin White is not far behind. And because that Kevin White was drafted 7th overall and played in 14 total games with the Bears.
Ooh,
over 3 seasons.
That is a case to be made there.
Including he missed his entire rookie season. And he only had, let me see, 25 total catches as a Bear. Wow. And never scored a touchdown in his entire career. It was the number 7th overall player in the draft.
Right, Kevin White, right?
Yeah. So it's tough not to go with him or Chris Williams.
All right. Just for fun, I'll give you I'll give you a name that has not been mentioned yet.
Okay.
This will be for the record here on Take the North. This will be my answer for this segment. Biggest Bears bust. He was a bust. And also relative to my disappointment, because I love this guy. His name is David Terrell. He was a wide receiver. You had to love him too, man. I was so excited. He was so energized. He loved being a Bear, like the whole thing. And David Terrell, unfortunately, turned out to be a bust. He couldn't move out there, man. He had nothing, David Terrell. He did have maybe a 2-touchdown game, I remember, at the U of I when Soldier Field was under renovation. That's how long ago it was when David Terrell was roaming the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, that was, let me see. He scored 9 touchdowns in his career.
But not all with the Bears, maybe even.
No.
I don't remember. I can't come up with 9 David Terrell touchdowns.
No. Well, he scored. So, 2001 season.
Yeah.
When they were pretty good, his rookie year, he had 4 touchdowns, 400 yards. So, he started okay, but then, it looks like he got hurt in that second year.
Where was he drafted? Is that on there? Is that readily available? Was he number? I want to say he was was he top 10? He had to have been.
Oh, he
had to have been.
He was a big deal. Question.
He was a big deal. He was a Michigan man. That was the whole thing. He was a Michigan man.
First round, 8th overall.
8th overall, yeah, top 10 guy.
So I would still, relative to production, I would say Kevin White was a bigger bust.
Okay.
But David Terrell is a fine answer.
It's a pretty good answer. One more honorable mention, or just other guy that I just jotted down would be Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller. Yeah. They moved up in the second round to get him. And again, I was just so disappointed. Like, he bought I bought what he was putting down, man. He was a great talker. I did cover that team, covered him. I thought he was going to be really good.
Yeah, he's another guy that came out his rookie year, that magical 2018 season, and he was awesome. Like, maybe not awesome, but he was electric, had a lot of good moments. I think he scored 9 touchdowns or something like that. So he's a guy that found the end zone, and you're like, okay, he's like a slot kind of guy. You know, they found a good, you know, nice little slot receiver, nice little compliment to Allen Robinson, who was a true X receiver. And then he just never got any better ever.
No, he didn't. And it got worse, and I always got the feeling he just didn't quite listen enough to what the coaching staff was trying to put down.
That was the impression. That's what I gathered too.
Yeah, just not executing the plan. I believe the wide receivers coach back then was our guy Mike Furry. Loved Mike Furry. Good guy. Good wide receivers coach. Always loved talking to Mike Furry, and you get to know these assistants, man. They are grinders, man, and it's a certain lifestyle that they live. All right. Is that it for now? Is that it for the mailbag? It's a fluid mailbag. The mailbag is always open. We just don't always we don't deliver them. We deliver the mail when we feel like delivering the mail.
And you know, hey, this time of year is prime time for mailbag season. So keep them coming. Again, it's at Take the North Pod on Twitter and takethenorthpod@gmail.com. And if you can hit Dan up on Blue Sky as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Studs, as always, great job filling in for Dan Wiederer. Appreciate you, man. Dan Wiederer will return, I do believe, right? As the next podcast that we will be doing beyond this one, will Dan Wiederer will our leader be back?
Yes, next week the owners' meetings get underway, and so he'll be at the owners' meetings. I don't believe you will, right?
I will not be at the owners' meetings, but that's fantastic that Dan Wiederer of the Chicago Tribune will be out there. So that we'll be bringing you the information here on the Take the North podcast.
And real quick before we go, our other fearless leader Eli would be pissed at us if we didn't mention this. So Eli, here you go. We have a live episode coming up, Brody.
Oh yeah.
On April 17th, Thursday, April 17th, we have a Take the North live from 6 to 7 p.m. on 670 The Score in Chicago. We'll be broadcasting live from the Blue Cross Blue Shield Performance Stage. And if you, the Take the North listener, would like to be part of the live studio audience for the show, go to 670thescore.com/contests and enter for your chance to win your way in. So again, that'll be happening on April 17th on 670 The Score.
That's awesome. Well, we'll look forward to hopefully meeting some people here on Take the North, and I seriously appreciate all the feedback that we get. We appreciate you guys watching and listening. And so for Adam Studzinski filling in today, and our executive producer of this here show, of this podcast, Take the North. Also for my regular partner, Dan Wiederer, I am Mark Grody. We'll talk to you later on Take the North.
Great talk. See you out.